Welcome to the Str8 Show, your one-stop destination for intriguing conversations with extraordinary individuals who are boldly navigating life outside the conventional norms. Our host, Scott Fullerton, is thrilled to embark on this journey of discovery with all of you. The Str8 Show, we believe that every person's story is unique, and it's our mission to showcase the diversity of human experiences. We bring you the untold stories of fascinating people who identify as LGBT+ and allies, pushing boundaries, breaking stereotypes, and making a positive impact in our communities. On this show, we bring you a diverse lineup of inspiring guests, from activists to artists, and entrepreneurs to entertainers, and everything in between. We dive deep into their personal journeys, discovering the pivotal moment that has shaped their lives and careers. You can expect thought-provoking discussions on a wide range of topics, from LGBTQ rights, social justice to arts, culture, mental health, and more. Our guests are change makers who share their insights, challenges, and triumphs, igniting conversation that promotes empathy, understanding, and love. So whether you're part of the LGBTQ community or an ally looking to expand your knowledge and show your support, the Str8 Show is for you. Together, we can build bridges of understanding and acceptance, celebrating the beauty of what makes us all unique. So sit back, grab a drink, and get ready for the show.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Str8 Show interviews, where I am so lucky to explore the vibrant world of LGBTQ culture, creativity, and community, along with our amazing straight allies, as I interview celebrities and personalities from the worlds of entertainment, foodies, books, music, and advocacy. I'm your host, as always, Scott Fullerton, and today I am thrilled to have an amazing straight ally joining us. Derek Magyar is in studio with me. Derek is a dynamic figure in the entertainment industry, known for significant contributions both in front of and behind the camera. As an actor, Derek has made his mark on amazing movies and television projects, with working with some great legends such as Ed Harris, Mekhad Brooks, and Luke Evans. And as a director, he's worked with some of my favorites, Holbrook and Lahti, who you know I love. His fantastic work resonates deeply with our community, blending his artistic talent with commitment to representing diverse voices. He's reprising his role of X in the long-awaited sequel Boy Culture Generation X. It's currently playing on your favorite streaming platforms. He is currently, however, enjoying his most personal role ever as father to his beautiful new daughter. And I'm so excited to talk to him in just a minute. So let's welcome for the first time to the Str8 Show, very handsome and talented Mr. Derek Magyar. But first, take a look.
I don't trust anyone anymore. Tell me why everything falls apart when I want it. And I want it. Thought I knew what I was looking for. Vivid and colorful, couldn't hold, but it's all good. Yeah, I'm all good. Till they want my name, make promises that fade out. I'm not acting like myself. Wish that I could stay here. Thought it'd be a good year. Guess that it just went to hell. But I caught the bullet with my teeth. I know nothing can stop me. Heavy metal in the battle. Heavy metal in the battle. I caught the bullet with my teeth. I know nothing can stop me. Heavy metal in the battle. Heavy metal in the battle. Feeling like I could die any moment. Needing somewhere to hide in the open. I stay low. Yeah, I stay low. caught the bullet with my teeth. I know nothing can stop me. Heavy metal in the battle, heavy metal in the battle. I caught the bullet with my teeth. I know nothing can stop me. Heavy metal in the battle, heavy metal in the battle. Linear fight upon the floor. Remember me out on the field, holding arms and singing songs. Dizzy in the battle, strings of steel. But I caught the bullet with my teeth. I know nothing can stop me. Heavy metal in the battle, heavy metal in the battle. But I caught the bullet with my teeth. I know nothing can stop me. Heavy metal in the battle, heavy metal in the battle.
All right, we are back and in studio here again. Mr. Derek Magyar is here. That was a look at one of your upcoming music video projects you do. Congratulations. That looks amazing, my friend.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the show. I've been a huge fan way back since the first Boy Culture, which we'll talk about in a bit. I do like to ask two questions to all my newbies, though. First question, tell me, where do you grow up, Derek, and what kind of a kid were you?
I grew up in LA, and I wasn't born there. I was born in New Hampshire, but I grew up in LA, and I grew up, going to a really cool elementary school that was called Crossroads, and it was a liberal arts school, and it was where I first started exploring the world of theater and acting. Was a playhouse that was just up the street from where I went to school. And I was in a class with, 25 kids, and my class was so cool. It was, Zoe Deschanel and Jason Ritter and all these amazing people were in my class. And after school, we'd just walk up to the end of the block and we would study at the Santa Monica Playhouse, and we just have fun and do these musicals, and that was my first exposure to it, and I was really thankful that that's where I got to sort of start my kind of my journey with the arts. And it was something that was really really cool, because it was like an after school activity. So in addition to doing whatever sports I was playing or things like that, I got to do theater 2 to 3 times a week, and I really fell in love with it right away.
That's fantastic. Such a great. You don't find many of those schools anymore. They're hard to come by,
No,
and
it's
so
true.
that's awesome. You were able to have that opportunity to do that. Second question, I usually ask my LGBT people about their coming out story, but as a fantastic straight ally, when did you kind of first get acquainted with the LGBTQ community, and was that through the theater community, or how did you kind of get involved with that community?
I don't know if I can pinpoint it to sort of a specific moment. I think just kind of the my parents and kind of the world that I grew up in. There was a lot of exposure to the LGBTQ community, and I think that just through the arts in general, it just kind of opened itself up. And then, of course, I went to a really wonderful, again, liberal arts school for college, Cal Arts, and it was a very, all different gender identities, and sexual orientations. And it was, I think that it's always been something that I've been very comfortable with, and I think very connected to. But I think it's always just kind of been sort of a part of my life since I was a kid, even though I am straight. It just kind of was a part of my life and my friends, and I didn't really think anything of it other than this was just kind of a part of being human. So
Sure. I love
yeah.
that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's start out talking about starting out your career. I mean, you were some of my favorite episodic things. Boston Legal,
cool.
Fell in Love with, Charmed, of course, as every gay boy has seen Charmed once or twice or a dozen times. Star Trek, such a thing. Talk about those early things. What was that like breaking into the business on those, and what did you learn from those kind of experiences?
All of them are valuable, and I've enjoyed every episodic show I think I've worked on. Star Trek was a blast. I think I was really hoping that the show was going to continue on. The character had a lot of growth, and I think that they had a lot of plans for the character of Commander Kelby. But unfortunately, it got canceled. That was the last season. But it was fun to just be able to play in that universe. I think it's a world that has been around for so long. They've made so many iterations of it, so many movies, so many different shows. They're still making shows, multiple shows.
Exactly.
That just getting to be a part of it was just really, really cool. And the other shows are great. I have a lot of fun working in episodics. Sometimes I work with the same director, sometimes it's a different director, but it's always interesting to be a guest star or even a recurring role on episodics, because you're sort of fitting into a cog that's already running, and it's how do you fit into the machine, and how do you try to bring something interesting and original at the same time to something that's so formulaic. So I think it's exciting, and it's also really challenging, because you don't want to you want to fit into that kind of formula, but you also want to have some originality. And I think that it's always been something that I challenge myself with, to try to find a way to make it a little bit different, or a little bit more dynamic, or a little bit, kind of different than exactly what's on the page, to try to bring something to it. And usually I think the directors I've worked with have all vibed with it. And it's been great because I get to work with so many different people. So in that sense, working on all of those shows, and a lot of those shows were on for so many seasons, that they're such a tight-knit group in terms of the crew and the cast, that to just kind of come in and feel like you fit and feel like you're a part of the community is really a pretty cool experience. And I've always felt welcome. So it's been a blast. I've loved every show I think I worked on. Some were easier than others, but I've loved everything that I've worked on, to be honest.
Nice. I love the way you put that. And again, like you said, Star Trek, we have so many options now with Paramount Plus and all these streaming things.
I know.
Mean, back then you didn't have the options of really taking the time. If you didn't make money the first year, you were pretty much gone. But now you have these streamers, and Star Trek has such a huge fan base. I think that show would probably go over huge. I mean, you have such a great cast. So yeah, I think you're right.
True. It's true. And I remember when they announced that the show was getting canceled, I was on set at Paramount. We were filming, and there were people picketing out front of Paramount because they really didn't want the show to end. So it was really cool. I mean, it just has such a cult following that it was cool to be a part of it.
You would have made your career forever. Just go to conventions for the rest of your life once you got bored of acting.
There you go.
That's a college fund right there. Those conventions.
There you go. There you go. Hey, that's a good idea. I have to talk to some people and make that happen, because I got to start thinking about those things.
There you go. Exactly. Well, then, as you're doing this, you start to get into the directing thing, and you do your first feature director flying lessons. I think I read this is like very personal to you. You had a friend that wrote it. Your dad had a hand in it. Talk about flying lessons. That had to be an amazing first start to your directing career. It took 3 years to get it made. That had to be just a learning experience in and of itself.
Yeah, it was. I think it was an incredible experience looking at it in hindsight. I, my life has changed so much, and my knowledge of the art of of filmmaking and kind of the understanding of the craft has changed so much that now I have a bit of a hard time watching that film because I was learning. I was learning by doing, which I think is a great way to learn. But now that I went back to school and I studied to get my master's at AFI, and I really learned to kind of understand the craft on a deeper level. I think I was able to kind of really approach it as an actor's director more so than kind of having a real understanding of the full scope of what it takes to really be a director. And that had pluses and minuses in terms of what resulted in the end product of the film. I think that the connection that I had with the actors, the work that the actors put forward was really strong. But there are things that when I look at it, I would certainly do differently if I were to make that movie again now. But it was a wonderful experience, and I was very blessed and thankful that I was able to make that movie.
There you go. You have to have your first, and it's always a learning process. So
Absolutely.
definitely, it's nice when you have those people you can fall back on. Like I said, when you have people around you that you trust and they trust you, that makes the
Yeah.
first time all the sweeter. So I love that. And
Yeah.
talk about this kind of going in front and behind. You formed Skinny Lee Productions, named after your grandfather, I believe. That's
Right.
amazing. Talk
Yeah.
about this. I mean, you're doing some great work, not just in the
Thank
acting
you.
and the movie field, but you're like the music video that we showed in the beginning here. You work with corporations, kind of getting them to learn the video aspect of how to promote their businesses. Talk about the genesis of Skinny Lee.
Yeah, I mean, I think it started as around the time that I was making flying lessons and really kind of forming a production company outside of an S corp that I had sort of already put together for my work as an actor. And now basically everything I do is under that banner. And yeah, I think primarily the work that I do is whether it's music videos or short films, feature films, brand videos, which you're sort of referring to, which you sort of make mention to. I think I'm always trying to find a way to stay involved and stay creative and um, keep flexing the muscle even when things are a little slow. And it's actually turned into something really exciting. I think that there's always an artistic approach to all of these things that are kind of under the banner, and I really enjoy doing all of them. I have my what I enjoy the most is sort of making films, developing TV series as well, but really, I think exploring character is something that I really am fascinated by, and human flaws and things like that. And I get to do that less so with brand videos, but it's a really cool tool. And I think that it's a fun thing that I get to kind of work with certain companies in kind of adding a sort of cinematic element to their brand that they maybe don't have right now, because what they have is a little stiff, and they want something that's a little more artsy, and that's really cool. I think it's creative in a different way to find an angle to make a company or a corporation that's kind of very straightforward, have that artistic flair. And I also work with I do a lot of not a lot, but I do real estate videos, and I've shot some really exciting properties done by really incredible architects. And these are all just things that I do to stay busy when things are slow. I think nowadays it's important to be a multi-hyphenate more than ever. Sorry, I'm going to let my cat in at the same time. I apologize for the moving, but I have to let in my kitty. And we got a full house here of three animals, a baby, parents and my father and mother-in-laws here, and our baby nurse. It's a full house, but it's really exciting.
I
So,
love that. Well, like I said, I've been following you forever, and I mean, you guys have always been animal people. I followed Remy and
yeah,
your wife and
yeah,
everything. So you guys have always
yeah.
been huge with that. So I
She's
love that.
Remy's doing well. Yeah, I can maybe grab her before the end of the interview. But
Nice.
yeah, it's we also inherited a dog when my mom passed in February, who
That's
I
right.
was already very close to. She's a beautiful pit lab mix, and she's
Oh
just an
wow.
absolute sweetheart. Yeah, she's a sweetheart. So it's a full house,
I
to say the
bet.
least. And we just moved. So yeah, lots of elements that are sort of moving and shifting, but
There
it's
you
all working
go.
out really well. It's all working out really well.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. And it's so great, like you said, back to Skinny Lee. I mean,
Yep,
we've learned through pandemic, through director strike, through writer strike, through actor strike, you need to be able to create those own projects of your own, right? You can't
that's
rely
right.
on everything else anymore. So I think that's important for
That's right.
you artistically. And what a blessing to those companies that they get to see your eye from both being in front of and behind the camera. So that's kind of awesome. I love that. Very
Yeah,
well
it's
said.
cool. It's cool.
And talk about some of your other projects. I mean, I think Ed Harris is probably one of the most fantastic actors, both character actor and leading man on there. You worked with him and David Duchovny on Phantom. Was that your
Hmm.
first kind of full length feature? Were you primarily television shorts before that, or talk about that?
No, I've been working on features for quite a while.
Okay.
Before that, I think my first feature was Boy Culture. Actually, my first.
Well, that's true. Of
Yeah,
course.
well,
Yeah.
I worked on Home Alone 2 when I was like 12. I had a tiny role, and I sang on the soundtrack. It was a blast. But yeah, Phantom was fun. I mean, I think it's a lot of testosterone. Obviously, a lot of people packed into a submarine. We filmed in San Diego on a submarine there that was stationary, obviously, and it was a lot of fun. He's a incredible actor, and he's a really good person. Um, he's really intense, and he expects 100% from the people that surround him all the time, and that's really something to learn from, and something that really pushed me and required me to kind of show up and be there 100%, regardless of how big or how small my part was in general, and also how big or how small my part was on a given day, based on whatever the scene was. He really expects everybody to give 100%, and he's right. I think being both an actor and a director as well, he kind of understands all of that, and he's one of the best. And
Right.
actually, we have the same acting coach who just
Oh, nice.
recently passed away. We both went to CalArts. Ed went to CalArts at a much different time than I did, and he got his master's. But we both studied with a fantastic teacher named Lou Poulter. And so Ed and I had a lot in common in that sense. And I've followed him quite a bit since then. And we talk occasionally. And he's a special guy, a great actor.
Fantastic. And then contemporaries, I love The Offer. I'm a huge Godfather fan, and we're talking Miles Teller and Matthew Good, Colin Hanks, Giovanni
Mm.
Ribisi. I love him for some reason. I don't know
Yeah,
why. But that had to
yeah,
be kind of fun to go on there for a couple times. Like you said, bring your own
yeah.
take. You're only there for a couple of times, but you're able to bring your own kind of mojo to it, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I think great group of people, great cast, great crew. Just Chambers was really fantastic, I thought, as Marlon Brando, which was the part I originally read for. I'm a huge fan of John Papsadero, who's a casting director, and I think it's fair to say that he's a fan of mine as well. And I think, creating those relationships are really important. He's always kind of looking out for something that I'm right for. And I read for this kind of on a whim after I'd definitely read for Marlon Brando. I might have read for one other part before I read for Robert Duvall. And then it just kind of fell into place. And, it wasn't that big of a part. but it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the camaraderie of the cast, because there's a lot of group scenes, and the dinner scene that we filmed, that happened, and that's it's just so cool. I'm a huge fan of The Godfather, and to be a part of a series that sort of tells the story from Bob Evans' side. From Al Ruddy's side is really interesting, and obviously Bob Evans is a big part of the show.
Right.
But they are making a feature that's being directed by Barry Levinson, which sort of focuses a similar story, but it's really from Bob Evans, which is being played by Jake Gyllenhaal.
Nice. I love
Yeah,
that.
it's a very popular thing right now.
I'm a huge fan. I've watched all of them, and
they're some of the best films of all time. Definitely.
Big time.
Yeah.
Let's get into boy culture for a bit. I mean,
Sure.
we started with the original movie back in 2006. Were you? I mean, you've talked about being such openly and part of being accustomed to LGBTQ community. Did you have any of your representatives or anything kind of try to dissuade you from taking on a part like this? This is a big part early on.
No, I think I made it pretty clear with the team, with my team, that I was looking, and I always am looking for something that's going to be challenging and be interesting. And I found that the writing was really vivid and extremely well done. And I thought that the character was really interesting, and it was something that, if I were lucky enough to be cast, that I would love to be a part of. So I think there was never anyone, including myself, that ever thought twice about it, other than, I hope I get the opportunity to be a part of this, because it's such a special project.
That's fantastic. And it was so special. I mean, just to our community and the straight community as well. I mean, it had some great following on there. And were you expecting it to be as popular as it was? Because it was really popular.
I don't think, I didn't put expectations on it. I think I felt when we finished shooting that we've made something special, but it's hard to know where it's going to go and how it's going to do. And I think once I saw it premiere, I remember at Tribeca, I remember feeling like this was special, and that people were going to respond to this in a very positive way. And I think it opened the doors in some ways for storytelling, a story that's sort of gay, that's gay themed, that it's something where it's two people falling in love, and I think it's extremely relatable regardless of what your sexual orientation is. And I found that to be really interesting, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from people that are straight that say that they can really relate to that character and some of the things that he's going through, and the ways that he's kind of trying to avoid really feeling too much, because that's scary. And so I think it really was very relatable to a lot of people, and I think it was a really impactful and real love story, instead of being something that was sort of over the top. And some of the things that I had seen that had been made in the last kind of, let's say, 5 years prior, it was sort of more campy and things like that, that this really brought a grounded, real story to the screen, that was about two gay men at the end of the day, who were in love with each other, that kind of wanted to be together, but fought it because of all these other things, and end up together. And I think it's a really touching story.
It was absolutely incredible, and I think you're right. It was so relatable because it was such universal themes. Everyone has kind of had something that they're doing that they don't know how that's going to gel with the relationship and what's going to work.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter what that is. Sometimes what we're doing in our regular life doesn't. Do we want to give that up for a relationship period, or is it, how scary is that to give up everything you've been doing to go in that? So yeah, I think the theme's extremely universal.
Yeah,
Well said.
I agree. Yeah.
We'll talk about now. I mean, this Generation X was a little project that could, right? It's like it took
Right.
forever. We're talking, it set 15 years later, and it's been almost 15 years since you first saw it. I mean, it's been a long
Oh my God. Yeah. It
coming
took a
out there.
long
I think
time to come out.
2018 is when you were first kind of start looking at the script and kind of getting things from that. But
That's
I think
right. Yeah.
it's an amazing response. Talk about, for those that have not got the chance to see it yet streaming, what the concept is these 15 years later.
Well, I think that it's really about X 15 years later, who is, I don't want to give anything away. So he is living with Andrew, and they're in Los Angeles. And for a variety of reasons, X has to go back into hustling because it's what he knows. And it's important that he is able to provide and pay the bills. So he goes back into the field that he thinks he knows, but everything has changed so much, just like things have changed so much in the world in the last 15 years. So instead of being an escort that sort of works on referral only basis and is paid a ton of money, now everything is digital. You have to have a rent boy profile and all of these kind of things that are sort of above and beyond X's understanding of why am I having to do this when it was so easy for me before. So there's a lot of humor in and of itself just by X having to kind of assimilate to how the world is now and how hustling has totally changed and how he kind of fights it, but through Jason's character Chase, he kind of finds a way to kind of accept it. And I think Chase and X are good for each other. I think Chase finds a way to open X up to being more okay with things that normally I think he wouldn't be okay with. I don't think X 10 years ago would be okay with wearing a sort of spandex outfit with a cape and pretending to be a Cape Crusader, so to speak.
Right.
So I think that they're really good for each other. And at the same time, I think X provides a maturity that Chase lacks. And so they're really great for each other. And, I think coming back to visit X and Andrew 15 years later to see what their relationship is like. And I think a lot of people are rooting for them. And, things aren't as easy as maybe you hoped for, or, I think that's how things evolve. Sometimes challenges arise, and it's about how these characters overcome the obstacles or don't overcome the obstacles. And that's something that's examined in the series. And I think that the ride for X and Andrew, I found to be something really, really exciting. And I love Daryl, and I think he's a wonderful talent and a good friend of mine. And we have a really natural kind of chemistry, and it works really well. And we've had a lot of fun. And hopefully we continue to get to do this and continue to kind of see where the relationship continues to unfold, because it's sort of left as a bit of a cliffhanger.
Right. Fingers crossed on that. Like I said, it's nice to see it as a series. Goes talk about stepping back into X. You have Daryl there, you have Alan there again. So you have this familiarity. How did that feel, kind of stepping back into the role for the first time?
It felt great. I mean, I think it's a real part of who I am. So it was kind of interesting and cool that I was able to tap into the character with quite a bit of ease, because I have such a strong understanding for who he is, that kind of it was written so well between Alan and Matthew, who came on board to write the series, that I was able to just really drop into it. So from the first time I read it out loud, it just kind of naturally was a part of me, and I kind of was able to kind of physicalize the character and bring the sort of dry humor and the sort of the tough guy that he kind of, the facade that he kind of puts up. But in the end, I think X is looking to be vulnerable, which I think is an interesting change in the character. But I was able to really drop into it quite easily. I'll just speak for Daryl. I think Daryl and I both, when we had our first table read, both of us were like, wow, it's just right there. It's right there. We're ready to go. We can shoot tomorrow. So it's really cool,
awesome.
especially when you work with someone like that you just feel that it flows so easily that, there's a lot of, it's safe. We can take chances. We can make bold choices, and that made it really easy and pretty freeing.
I bet. I love hearing that. And then you've mentioned the character Chase, played by Jason Caceres, good friend of mine in the show. I mean, I talked to him a couple of weeks ago. He said he was very intimidated to come on the set. Of course, he knew the history of the film. And he said, you guys were probably the most welcoming actors he's ever worked with. And he just kind of really
sweet.
felt like a little brother and felt like really welcome to the set because he was really intimidated first. Talk about bringing that new blood onto the series. That's got to make it exciting, and it kind of also got to be, how do you welcome someone new into the fold like that?
Yeah, I think that he is a really easygoing person. I think that he's a talented actor, and just, I think that, while we're sort of a family already, I think we just did our best to open the doors and make him feel welcome. And I think both Daryl and I were able to get along with Jason as a person very easily, and then it became very easy to kind of connect to Chase as well. I think that, like I said, the dynamic between X and Chase, I don't want to give anything away, is really interesting. And that made it even easier for Jason and I to become friends. So, he's a great guy, and I'm glad that he ended up feeling really comfortable on set and really comfortable with the work. So, I'm a big fan of his, and I think that we just did our best to kind of open our arms and make him feel welcome, like he was part of the family from the beginning.
I think you guys went above and beyond, according to him. Now, talk about coming back to the series from the other side. Now you're directing. You've directed a feature. You've directed some shorts. You have different eyes to something now, something you've done in the past that now you've had this extra experience. Was that an interesting take on the whole project at all?
Yeah, I think that it gives me a leg up in a way to kind of understand the blocking and understand where the camera is and what I can and can't do within the scene. And I do my best to let go of being a director, which I've really kind of taken on, and that's a really dominant part of my career right now. But when I'm acting, I do my best to let the director direct and just have be there and be ready to go as an actor. But also I have an extra understanding of really like the layout of the scene and the structure of the scene, and okay, the camera is an OTS, and here are my options. I can move this far and I can do this. And so I sort of have, I'm able to take those elements and use them to my advantage, I think. But for the most part, I just try to show up and do my job when I'm there as an actor, because I'm not there to backseat direct. There's nothing worse than that. So no one wants to backseat direct, or no one wants a backseat director. So, I think Alan's extremely talented. He's a really good director and a really talented writer too. I have a great time with him. The family of Boy Culture is fantastic. We've known each other a long time at this point, and we're really close. So it's super cool. Like, I love working with them. I love working with Alan. I love working with Daryl. Philip's great. Stephen Israel's great. These are people that I've known a long time, and we've really done the circuit, and we've really we've had a lot of fun together, and I hope that we get to continue having fun together as we hopefully continue, making more episodes and letting the show continue on.
There you go. Well, that's a perfect spot to go ahead and play the trailer for those that haven't seen it yet.
Awesome.
About where it's streaming afterwards, but let's go ahead and play. This is the trailer to the new Boy Culture, the series Generation X. Listen to Left of Str8 Show and my very special interview with Derek Magyar right here on the Left of Str8 Radio Network. We'll be back on the other side.
Guys are willing to pay more for a slightly less hot guy if they have a fantasy built up around you. What social media do you do? Facebook?
Every door requires a different fantasy. So until you know what that is, be a blank canvas.
What's your name?
Call me X.
I usually like guys that are older than 45.
He told you I was 45?
Can't resist the power!
We're horny.
Yeah. You want to go halvesies on the stripper? I hear they're all hustlers.
You heard right.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Chase. With a Y. As in, why don't you join us?
You were born to be abused.
Yes. Tell me how nasty I am. X.
My timing's just off.
My timing's fine. Your timing is off. This is not going to work if you don't respect the boundaries.
Everything's so public these days. I just want something to be private for a change.
It doesn't take superhuman powers of perception to see you're denying yourself something because you think you don't deserve it.
Breaking up with you was a mistake. Let's figure this out together.
Can you do PayPal?
Of course.
We can?
Alrighty, we are back. That was the trailer for Boy Culture Generation X, co-starring one of my very special guests today, Mr. Derek Magyar back. Yeah, just fantastic. Fingers crossed this is going to keep going as a series. It's great to see it episodic. I mean, the movie was amazing, but to be able to see these characters progress, that's a lot of fun for both the audience and I'm sure the actors too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I think that there's a lot of interesting themes that are explored. I think there's I think Alan is not afraid to examine certain tropes and bring a satire, a kind of a satirical element to exploring those things. Some people may get it. Some people may not get it in that sense because the tropes are there. But I think that he really kind of takes them and makes them funny and interesting and dynamic. And each episode they're so different that again I'm trying to be very aware of not giving anything away. That I think every John, so to speak, I think really informs and continues to kind of fuel X and who he is. I think that that's a really interesting piece of the story is that he has so many interactions with so many different people that only can help inform who he is as a human being. And I think that he learns a lot and he realizes he has a lot more to learn. And, I think with age, with maturity, and he's still quite a young man, but comes this sense of feeling like you've lived more of life and there's more of an understanding of what it is to kind of be, a grown-up human being. And that I think is really interesting, and that's woven in really well into the series. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me too. A lot of the growth that I've had as an artist comes from just the work that I've done, mistakes that I've made, an incredible wife, a beautiful daughter, great friends. It's just, it's all about experience. And I think that's something that's really cool, that X gets to experience so many different walks of life. And that makes him more of a unique character, because I think a little piece of all of those people are a part of who X is.
Right. Well said, and it's a big tribute to Alan Brock. I mean, we talked earlier about camp. I mean, he's started off with the camp LGBT films, and now he's into this serious drama, and now we have the fun thing. And I literally really love the fun and playfulness. I mean, you scroll through a lot of your work, and you've done a lot of serious stuff. I mean, you've had a couple of fun episodics, but you've really done a lot of serious work. It's got to be fun to kind of let the comedy side fly when you have a chance, right?
It is. It's a blast. It's a blast, and it's very dry humor, which is something that I love in my personal life. I would say that's my style of humor. X has it down to a T. So I think that it's great. I love it. I love getting to examine that side of the character and that side of acting. It's a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Well, guys, it's streaming now. You can find Amazon. My Deku is one of my favorite streaming places for LGBTQ films. It's just fingers crossed it's going to keep going to series. What else do you have coming up in the pike for you, Derek? Do you have any of your own projects?
I do. I just yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I just finished a short film that I directed, produced, and starred in, that I'm really excited about. It's called River of Grass. It's will be at festivals next year. And then I'm also developing that particular short film into a feature. We've already sort of written the script. We're just at the final stages. Obviously, the writer's strike put a pin in everything, but we're close to being finished now. And we're looking to go into pre-production early next year and shoot sometime in the fall in New Orleans of next year.
That's amazing. Congratulations on all the success, my friend. Again, congratulations on the adorable baby daughter.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to you and your wife. Let everyone know where they can find you on social media, and maybe Skinny Lee Productions, in case they want to have people that are corporations listening, or people that have some ideas they want to pitch.
I think the best way to kind of find me is on Instagram. It's at Derek Magyar for my personal page, and then at Skinny Lee Productions for my company page. And I'm with a daughter. I've not been very active on social media. I'm just focusing on being a dad, and I'm trying to survive right now. But I am on there, and I do try to connect with my fans and followers and friends, and there's a lot of people that I think have been positively affected by boy culture, and have really felt that it's changed who they are, and it's given them hope, or all these different things that really, really moves me. And I try to make sure that I respond to anyone who reaches out to me who wants to talk about it. So I'm a very available person, even though it's hard to keep up with all the messages. I do my best at doing it, and it's me who does it. So that's the way.
That's fantastic. Derek, I really appreciate your time, your talent. I mean, it's just so great to be able to talk to you. Guys, be sure to follow Derek. Check out his production company. Boy Culture is out streaming now. You can look at some of Derek's previous work and be on the lookout for these things coming up. We appreciate listening to Left's a Straight Show interviews. We're back here every Thursday and Friday with brand new ones. You can also catch us next Tuesday. We're going to have Derek back for a fun 5 questions with. That's always a lot of fun. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll talk to you next week, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks, Derek.
Thanks.
Bye,
Thanks for listening to The Left of Straight Show. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast distributor, and please give us a 5-star rating so more listeners can find us. You can follow us on social media, and be sure to check out our website, www.leftofstraightradio.com, for contests and other news and information. See you next week.